Welcome to another episode of the Quick Corner on the Go. Today is the 25th of January. God has been kind to us. He's brought us through 25 days, to 25 days. And so we have 366 minus 25. What's that number? 341. Oh wow. It's adding up. As I said in my last video and at the beginning of the year, we'll be using the spellouts that were shared in the Word of the Month video and attach some quips to them and just discuss them some more as we leap forward in this year. So please join me in the Quip Corner and let's do this. Welcome again. January 24th was the International Day of Education, the UN International Day of Education. And the Secretary General, the UN Secretary General said, let's deliver education systems that can support equal societies, dynamic economies, and the limitless dreamer of every learner in the world. Educational systems that will deliver the dreams of every learner. I'm sure you might already have guessed that we're going to be looking at one of the leap spellouts that has something to do with education or with learning. You're right. So the spellout in focus today is learning enhances advancement and prosperity. Learning enhances advancement and prosperity. Remember the quote I just shared from the UN Secretary General? Limitless dreams of every learner. And those of us who are Christians know that Ephesians 3:20, which I shared in my first video, tells us that God can exceed those our dreams, those our expectations, our imaginations, and even our prayers. So with that as our backdrop, let's look at today's quip. Again, from book 5, quip 61, which says, leverage your learning and leap forward. Otherwise, you have learned new things in vain. Leverage your learning and leap forward. Otherwise, you have learned new things in vain. Learning is a good thing, but it's only good when it is put to the right use. Another quote that had been floating around for a bit, and I think I heard it the first time early last year. Yeah, at a conference I was to speak at. It was shared at that conference, or rather at a conference I spoke at. It was shared at that conference, and it's by Alvin Toffler. I may not be pronouncing the name correctly, my apologies. And he said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So when we talk about learning new things, it also includes unlearning old things. Now and again, my husband and I talk about how times change, and the only constant we have is God, who doesn't change. But knowing that, we need to recognize that because times change, the way we approach particular things could also change. So that's unlearning an old thing and learning a new thing. Or maybe even relearning a skill, which could include upskilling yourself. So as we progress in this year, I challenge myself, I challenge us to keep an eye out on how we are applying the things we have learned. Be conscientious about that. Let me read another quote I found that I think speaks to this really well. It's by Robert Greene. He said, "The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways." Combine them in creative ways. A tagline my husband used in his email signature is, "The future begins now," or "The future starts now." So with everything you learn, the way you put it to use determines the future. Remember? Harvest don't come before the sowing. So the learning, the using of it properly is what brings forth that harvest that you desire. We can't overstate it. The minute you stop learning, you start dying. It's not a curse, it's just a fact of life. And it doesn't have to be big, outstanding things, even little things. Remember how I say that one of my mantras is to learn something new every day, or to learn every day. I'll put that video up there for you to see and catch up on. So how have you been applying the things you have learned? Have you been using them to execute the plans? Remember last week's video? I'll put that up there again for you. Have you been implementing what you have learned as you execute the plans you have? Once again, I look forward to reading your comments. And remember, besides YouTube, you can also subscribe to Quip Corner with Ada on Spotify. Thank you for being part of this episode and sharing it with your friends. You take care and God bless you. Bye now.